What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're going to be reacting to a little clip from the LEC broadcast where Perkz hopped on, answered some questions. They had a quick little Q&A. There are some really funny answers. There's some kind of flamey answers. There's just a couple of things that I wanted to talk about and go over. Now that we're kind of finished up with the locking tournament, we're getting ready for the start of the LCS season. There is some time to talk. Obviously, we need to continue to start ramping up like the trash talk and all of our expectations and hype and all that stuff. I'm definitely going to have my power rankings, thoughts, and predictions for the entire LCS season coming out in the next couple of weeks. But I did think it was cool how the LEC is able to still kind of incorporate Perkz into their broadcast and stuff. I know that Perkz still has a ton of European support, a huge European fan base. Cloud9 fans have gotten a huge boost. It really is helping out with the LCS viewership and everything as well. And so far, everything's going really good. But again, I thought this was some nice content from them, so I wanted to give my little coverage on it, kind of give my thoughts and opinions of some of the stuff he's talking about. And there is some good stuff in this short little segment. But before we get into that, I just want to make sure you guys, if you're not already, click that subscribe button. It's fast, free, it's easy, helps you guys stay updated on my latest content. I would appreciate it so much. Also, drop a like on this video if you do enjoy it, if you like what I do here on this channel, or if you just want to help support me and my content, because it does help me out so much, getting my videos out to more and more people. That would be great. I would just appreciate it so much. Yeah, with that being said, let's go. Let's see what Perkz has got to say. They just asked him some random questions, but here's some of the funnier ones that I thought and I wanted to talk about.
All players in Immortals. Okay, this one is actually hard.
It's so BM. They ask him to name all the players on Immortals. Now, hey, I don't know how. I'm sure a lot of you guys can do this because I know we cover a lot of LCS stuff here. We talk about all the different players and stuff all the time. I guess, see if you guys can do it before we get into the answers and stuff. Do you think Perkz can do it? But all in all, just a hilarious question, even by the interviewing people. Pretty BM to the Immortals team. But then also Perkz knows he's on the spot. He probably doesn't know Meaner, which is pretty hilarious because yes, he didn't play against Immortals during the lock-in tournament, their full roster, but it's still one of the teams. There's only 10 teams in the LCS. It shouldn't be that hard to know all of them. I know. I mean, I can for sure name everyone. But yeah, I mean, definitely not everyone can. But let's see what he's got.
Okay, I know Destiny's there. Is from you. Zers is there. Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Then they have. Okay, they have Pretty. No, it's a sub, right? So they have Insanity.
He's got
Top
3.
Is Revenge.
Oh, he's 4.
I think so.
Eddie
Carry, I have absolutely no idea. It was keeping brief, but I know it's another guy. So I don't know who he is.
So he didn't know who Raze was as the AD carry. Obviously, I think it's hilarious that he knows who Keith McBrief is. Just kind of like the meme of North America at this point. AD carry extraordinaire, went to support for a little while. Pretty hilarious. But yeah, he was able to name 4 out of 5, which I guess shouldn't be too bad. Obviously, 2 of them are players that he should be a little bit familiar with from the LEC and Destiny and Xerxes. And then just knowing Revenge and Insanity, that's not too bad. That should give those players some confidence and stuff, knowing that they are on Perkz' radar. Obviously, he is here to win titles. He's here to compete with the best of the best players, and make a bunch of money while doing it. But he shouldn't really be too concerned with Immortals, and who exactly their players are probably doesn't matter too much to him, especially before he's really gotten into playing with them and studying their games every week and all that kind of stuff. But it just kind of shows where his priorities are. I thought that was an absolutely hilarious question to ask to Perkz. But the next one I believe coming up is the one I want to talk about a little bit more. Pretty funny. Both ways.
I can't really explain why I said I was gonna go there. It's the whole opening tournament. That wasn't kind of a prank, but.
So, if you guys aren't familiar, this was Perkz before the LCS lock-in tournament started. He tweeted out that pretty much he was going to go deathless throughout the entire lock-in tournament. Obviously, the very first game, I think he went, 2-7 on Yone. After the first day of the lock-in tournament, he was actually the death leader. It was so funny. And really, it was a great move by him. Even though, he got like a ton of flame and backlash and people were making fun of him, memeing him stuff. It really got the whole community just involved. Right off the bat, everyone was watching to see when that first death was going to be. It was like 8 minutes into the first game. Twitter exploded, Reddit exploded. It got everybody talking. Everyone was having a ton of fun. It really kind of showed North America right away what kind of player and guy and stuff Perkz is, because obviously he got some backlash, but he doesn't care. It wasn't going to affect him or anything. And obviously he didn't care about dying, because he was just kind of limit testing, playing crazy, going balls to the wall on Yone and everything. And that was fun to watch. And obviously he's not afraid to talk about it now afterwards, which is just the mark of of a good, experienced veteran guy who's obviously, done some trash talking before. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it backfires. But that's just the G2 way, and that's how they're able to build up so much hype and fanfare. And it just makes the whole thing a lot more fun. So I was glad that he was able to talk about that.
I will probably go deathless than the spring split since I haven't gotten in the tournament. It has to be one of them, I guess. The tournament is kind of off the charts right now. I think dying 7 times in my first game was probably a pretty good debut. I was just showing off. I'm not scared of hinting.
So I thought that was hilarious. Now he's doubling down, saying that, hey, I'm gonna go deathless during the spring split, which again I think is hilarious. Because if he does go deathless for a couple games, that's gonna get so many people talking. That's gonna get him hyped. And if he dies 2 minutes into the first game, or 10 minutes, or 20 minutes, or 30 minutes in the first game, or whatever, that's going to be hilarious too. And again, people are going to be clipping this. It's going to be all over Twitter. It's going to be all over social media. And it's just great for Cloud9, great for Perkz, great for all the teams involved. It really just helps out with the LCS and content creation and everything when there's more things to talk about, when there's more people kind of getting involved in jokes and memes and all that stuff. And that's what G2 has historically always been good at. But obviously, Perkz has been a very, very big part of that as well. But just kind of talking about Perkz and how I project it for him to go forward. Obviously, I don't think he's going deathless during the LCS, and I obviously don't think he's going to go deathless for very long, just with how him and Cloud9 have been playing. I think he slowly is starting. I think at the beginning, he and Cloud9, whether they didn't have a great grasp of the mid lane meta or just the meta in general, as I'm sure a lot of teams didn't, as it was still very, very new. They're all getting their footing. I think Cloud9, they could have just not really cared about the meta at the beginning. They could just wanted to kind of try different stuff out. Obviously, he went Yone Ignite, very aggressive, very crazy. He kind of just wanted to, we say it all the time, the meme is like limit testing and stuff, but he could have just wanted to kind of do that and see how it went. But then, as the tournament went on, Perkz and Cloud9 both really kind of started to look better and better every single week, every single game. If you took a look at their kind of group stage, I was thinking they were doing all right, but their group was really weak. I didn't have super high expectations for them in the knockout stage. I expected them to beat TSM, but I wouldn't have been surprised at all if they lost 100 Thieves. Then we saw them against TSM, where they dropped a game to TSM, who looked absolutely terrible. But then they got the reverse sweep. Obviously, they're looking great, but man, if you're losing a game to TSM, good luck against 100 Thieves, who was looking pretty hot at the time. They go down 2-0, they pull off the reverse sweep. But then you're like, now they're playing Team Liquid. If you just barely eked out a win against 100 Thieves, if you had to reverse sweep them, good luck. You're probably going to get demolished against Team Liquid, and they take Team Liquid all the way to Game 5. So, it really seemed like Cloud9 was constantly defying expectations. They were constantly ramping up, constantly getting better. And Perkz, himself too, started out with a 2-7, and by the end of the tournament, he really was one of the best mid laners in the whole tournament. Now, he didn't come into the league and start smurfing right away exactly, how I and a lot of other people predicted and thought he would, especially because mid lane has historically been a pretty weak position in North America and in the LCS. We really don't have a lot of just good mid lane talent in the league. So there is a big opportunity for Perkz to kind of stand out and shine even more than he usually does. But he's not there yet. Even by the end of the lock-in tournament, it was pretty close between him and Jensen in the finals. Like, who was really playing better, who was being more consistent, who was impacting the game more heavily. And again, yes, Perkz was looking way better at the end of the tournament than he was at the beginning of the tournament, but he still has so much more room to grow and improve and keep meshing with his Cloud9 team, keep learning the meta, keep learning all the new champions and stuff. Obviously, he hasn't played a ton of mid lane over the last 2 years, but also as the meta continues to shift, he talks about in this interview a little bit how his favorite meta is like Akali, Sylas, stuff like that. And Akali's a little bit playable right now. Sylas is a little bit playable, but that's not the meta. Some of the strongest picks are like Twisted Fate, Galio, stuff like that. That's not necessarily Perkz' favorite stuff. That's not necessarily his favorite playstyle, and that's not where he thinks he's able to shine the most. And also not really the champions where he can show the most kind of mid difference, mid gap, whatever. And if the meta does start to shift that way and things start to change, which of course it always does. League of Legends is always changing. The meta right now will not be the meta at MSI, will not be the meta at Worlds. Cloud9 has definitely a chance to continue to ramp up. And that's one scary thing about this Cloud9 team is that across different metas and stuff, they have Blabber, the huge carry jungler. They have Perkz, the potentially huge carry mid laner. They have Sven, who seems like he can play everything and be a monster. That they have Vulcan, who has an insane champion pool. Obviously the one weakness right now really is still Fudge, who did not have a great lock-in tournament, really did not have a great showing. But obviously he himself has a lot of room to grow and improve and stuff as well. And I don't know if he got better as the tournament went on, they started finding more picks for him. He had a pretty good Malphite game. He obviously had a good Aurelia game, but too often he was the sole reason that they were losing games and stuff. But I do think that the ceiling is still very, very high for this Cloud9 team. And yes, Perkz is memeing about not dying throughout the entire spring split, which isn't going to happen. But I do think we are going to continue to see a better and better Perkz as the season goes on. You saw already how close they were to knocking off Team Liquid, how close they can beat a Team Liquid when they're playing well. And I expect Team Liquid to ramp up as the season goes on as well. I don't think, the lock-in finals, the lock-in championship Team Liquid is the same Team Liquid we're going to see at the end of the year. I think they'll continue to get better as they synergize. And Santorin still hasn't even had very much time with his team. Alfari hasn't had a ton of time in North America yet. We'll see how that all works out. But I think the spring split's going to be really, really fun. I love the trash talk. I hope we keep going with different memes and different just things like this. Jensen's been giving a ton of great interviews lately that we'll definitely cover a bunch this week. Perkz, he's always tweeting and putting crazy stuff out, and I'm sure he'll continue to do that stuff this week as we get hyped up and excited for the start of the LCS season. And we're going to have a condensed week where there's going to be a ton of LCS action every single week. These teams have 6 weeks, I believe, is it for the LCS season. So, yeah, we do have some time to ramp up and prepare and stuff, but Cloud9, I think, played 17 games in the LCS lock-in tournament, and that's almost as many games as they're going to play during the LCS regular season, which is 18 games. So, in a way, they just played an entire LCS season, so they really should kind of be starting to get into their stride, starting to figure out how they want to play as a team and all that stuff. So it's going to be really interesting to see what teams are able to continue to ramp up. Also, there's some teams talking about, we were just limit testing during lock-in, it's just a preseason tournament, blah, 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 blah. We'll be ready to go for the start. So we'll see how all that goes as well. But I want to get these spicy words out to you from Perkz, a little bit of flame to Immortals and a little bit of flame to the rest of the league, saying, I'm going to go deathless in the spring split, so let's go. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think's going to happen? When is Perkz' first death going to be? In the first game? In the first minute? Never. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on anything we talked about in today's video. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one, but until then, peace!